Hi, and welcome to Frazzlecast. Climb aboard the Gnome Train.
Woo! Chugga, 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 woo!
Please make sure to keep your limbs and experimental instruments inside the train at all times. And now, on with the show.
A podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
So, I'm Frazzly, and I am joined by the man to thank for allowing me to experience BlizzCon this past year, the Crushinator!
Yes, I'm here. Glad to be here on the show with you, Fraz. BlizzCon was awesome. Great to meet you. Great to see everybody.
It was great to meet you, and I still am in awe of the people that we saw there. I mean,
Oh, it was amazing. I knew from the very start, this was my first BlizzCon. I knew I was going for the people.
Yeah.
Despite never having met any of these people. So it was a little bit tough trying to, put faces to names, put bodies to voices. An amazing experience. Totally great.
I remember sitting when I was sitting with you in one of the panels at Comic Before Storm, thinking, "Whoa, that's Pat. That's that person. That's that person." And I was just in awe. I was within arm's length of them, and I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to interrupt their panel.
Exactly, right? You're just out there, and they're just people.
Yeah.
You walk in, you expect them to be 12 feet in the air, floating around, because they're the podcaster, they're the content creator.
Yeah.
But then you just say hi, and they're like, hi, and you're like, oh, hello, other person who's just a person. It throws you off.
Yeah, and they enjoy geeking out with you, and it's like,
yeah, you just get to go in there, and man, just having someone to talk to about the stuff you're passionate about is a real gift.
And that's why I like bringing people in here. So some people like Emma saying that I trap people in a room for about an hour, but I invite you into the room.
Absolutely. I'm here of my own free will.
Yes. Yeah. See, everybody who thinks that I trap my guests. No. See, it's all consensual.
Exactly.
So on this episode, I want to get to know you better. So break some mental blocks on my knowledge of you and more. Did you see what I did there with the?
I did see what you did there. Very well done.
Oh, thank you. And before we get into that, though, there's somebody else that we need to ask. Epic Insanity, what time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. So what have you been up to recently?
Well, recently was the holidays, the big Christmas, New Year's break. I work a pretty standard job, which means those weeks I've got a few extra days off.
Nice.
Family and friends coming into town, and my normal routine is completely shattered. Everything's upside down, topsy-turvy, and I've got to go out and be way more social than I normally am. So it was good. It's good to be social. It's good to see friends and family. But it's also very nice to be back to my normal flow, my normal routine. It's been very, very nice getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, because you have to rely on somebody else's schedule for those few weeks, whereas you know what's going on when it's your own schedule.
Absolutely. I pretty much live off my Google Calendar. I've got my, I'm doing this and this time block, and then after I'm going to do that. But then the holidays come around and it's just, we're just going to go over to someone's house and see what happens. And I'm just like, that's not a plan.
Yeah, no.
That's not a plan at all. What am I supposed to do here? But it's still good. I mean, if I lived my life 100% routine, that would be a problem. There's got to be some balance. So it's good for the holidays to come around, shake things up for the time that they're here.
Absolutely. And any time in WoW that you've had recently?
I've been slowly leveling a shaman over on Airy Peak.
Ooh, I hear there's a guild over there.
There is a guild over there. I've been doing a little incognito. I haven't reached out to said guild just yet. I want to make sure that I'm settled, but I am looking to apply one of these days once I get up there, once I get to that max level. And I hear there's a possible boost I could get if I do a little pre-order. So maybe I can use that to expedite the process a little.
And that guild who has a guild podcast that I'm now on would absolutely love to have you in our guild.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. WoW has been on and off for me for the last few years. I used to be on a lot. I played very seriously for a good 7 years. I was being a hardcore raider. And since then, it's been off and on, and the guild that I used to be in is pretty much all retired. So my main characters are in this old dead guild. Instead of taking my main characters and immediately transferring them over. I'm trying to do something a little more organic. Just level the character up from 1.
Yeah.
Start a new experience. Try to get back into WoW with some people who are fresh and active. Looking forward to it a lot.
And I've heard Party Sync works even across a vast level array.
It is a very cool feature because I play with my wife sometimes on our other characters. And even though we're the same level, just being able to do the same quests, because like I've gone ahead and I'd done some quests yesterday that she didn't get to do, she can just join me the next day and we can do those quests again. It's been a really good feature. I haven't tried it across levels yet, but I assume it works pretty similarly.
Yeah, I know that Michael's been over in the EU with the Blue Recluse people, and like Marty was 120 and Michael was leveling up, and Marty got the gold equivalent of his level 120 and Michael got the gold equivalent of his, so they were able to do the same quest. I was like, that is cool.
It is really, really neat, because I remember before what you would do to play together was the max level person would come to your leveling zone and decimate the entire area while you followed them around, which is not fun and engaging gameplay.
No.
Not at all. Looking forward to getting in the guild, getting to know all the folks there. I hear there's, oh gosh, I don't know how many splinter guilds there are now.
10.
There's 10 now? Well, I'm sure whichever one I end up in will be perfect for me.
No, Galleon's the best. No, I've been in quite a few, so they're all good.
Excellent.
Very cool. I've been kind of feeling the same way that you are, getting back off of the winter break and stuff like that. And it is interesting that you mentioned relationships, because I've been watching a show on Netflix that is really juicy, and there's a lot of tea that's spilt. So I found out from a good friend, Raz, there's a show called The Circle. Have you heard of this?
I've not heard of The Circle. What's The Circle about?
So The Circle is, what if you took a social network, but everybody's in an apartment complex, and you can only talk to people via text. Everybody can talk with The Circle via voice. You don't know if the person's catfishing you and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's an interesting idea.
It is very fascinating, because like people are trying to talk and without the vocal inflections we have and stuff like that. I mean, people know that I'm not catfishing them. I really am the tallest Nomen Azeroth, so
that would be the longest con in history, my man.
Yeah. Oh, this is all a deep fake. Yeah.
Oh man, that would be some serious business.
I do know Zorch wants to go to BlizzCon, but he wants to have a giant sock puppet. That's been his idea. Okay,
yeah. Get some real interactions before he reveals to the world who he really is.
Yeah, exactly. and Allie's right. We are both tall. You're tall. And that blew my mind when I saw you.
I said this all the time at BlizzCon because I am a fairly tall man and people noticed. But when you talk to people online, when you hear them through podcasts, you see them stream, you don't really get height.
No.
You're either sitting down or you're not seeing them at all, and you're not even thinking about how tall they might be. And then you get there and it's like, oh, you're enormous, or oh, you're 5 feet tall. It never even crosses your mind. You kind of assume everyone's on your eye level.
Yeah.
Just like by default, right?
It amazed me how many people are actually pretty tall. Like, I thought Allie is pretty tall.
Oh, yeah. I remember meeting a few streamers. I was at Con Before the Storm. I did a meetup with the Heroes Hearth people. And there were a few notably short people, but it was kind of known. But a lot of tall people, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one person that was actually taller than me that whenever I see somebody that's taller than me, I feel like this isn't real. There can't be anybody.
It's strange, right? Because you don't encounter it so much.
No.
I remember one time I was working nights at a grocery store. That was what I was doing I came out of a 2-year university program. I was taking a winter off before I headed off to college for business. So I was working like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. at a grocery store, just stocking shelves. And one of our overhead lights caught fire.
Oh.
Wasn't a big fire, just a little bit of a smoking light. We had to call the fire department just to be sure. And these 3 guys walk in. Now, I understand they're wearing big boots. They've got a little bit of a riser there. But They were all at least 6 inches taller than me.
Wow.
It was like the San Antonio Spurs just walked into my store and were like, what's going on here? I'm like, Nothing, sir. It's just a little bit of a light fire. All right, make sure you turn off the switch and we'll make sure that gets put out. Thank you.
They didn't even need to step on our bet.
Oh, it was surreal. I couldn't believe it.
And I think we found somebody that's taller than us. Tellenroyd saying that they are pretty sure that they're taller than me.
I might have been an inch more than you. It wasn't much more. So if Tellenroyd's got you by a bunch, I'm sure he's got me.
Yeah. The Circle, I've been enjoying that. 4 episodes just came out on Wednesday, so I was binging a little bit of that. And I finished the Raft Chapter 1 with Spaz.
Ah, very good.
That game is amazing because you're on the raft and you can build the raft as big as you want, and islands will like come at you, and it's all procedural generation and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know what you're going to get on an island, and you have to like get scrap, and then there's a shark that follows you named Bruce, literally named Bruce.
Okay, so in Raft, is it a lot of pre-planning, like you know what you're going to do and it's just going to take you a while to do it, or is there a lot more reactionary based on what you come across?
It's more reactionary on what you come across. Like there is an antenna and a radio that you find coordinates to get the places, and you do kind of plan that, like you got to build the antenna, so you learn different blueprints. But yeah, like you react to like, I found this, or, oh, I got to eat, so I got to work on this, or I found this island that has this stuff on here, or the shark put a hole in your boat, so you got to
fix that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching you play for a bit. It looked like an interesting game, taking advantage of the opportunities being thrown at you.
It is, and I thought it was an incredible way like things would load out. I thought they handled loading in and out of stuff incredibly well, because otherwise it could be a big game, because like Minecraft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hitting loading screens is always the worst, and I didn't see one of them in that game.
Oh no, yeah,
how large it was.
Spaz found a mod that had sand. I'm thinking that would be interesting, traveling the sand dunes.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a cool aesthetic.
And then over in WoW, I've been doing a lot of working on Lore Masters. So I finished up Nagrand, Blade's Edge, and now I'm working on Shadow Moon Valley. I actually have to do one more storyline in Shadow Moon, and I was working on that before the show. So I probably will have Shadow Moon next week, and that just leads Sangermarsh and Terra Cardon and Outlands. I can say bye-bye forever, unless I have achievements I got to go back and get. But
yeah, you always got to be ready for those. Man, I'm pretty happy with how they handled Lore Master. It's been a while since they changed it. Did you play back when it was just like complete 700 quests in Eastern Kingdoms?
I don't think I was playing, but I have come across people online doing that, where they would talk about like, oh, how fun it is. I got to do this.
It wasn't like, finish this zone, then that zone. It was just like, they're out there on the continent. Go find them. It was brutal, man.
Oh, it sounds like it, because in this way, I like it. You're getting the storylines done, and you hit the main stuff. And the way that the Lore Master has it, I already have Warlords through BFA all done. I just got to go back and finish the expansions that I was missing. Yeah,
it's definitely a lot better for the sake of just going and learning the story.
Yeah.
Very good guide for that.
And it's going to be a perfect thing, I think, once the new leveling comes out in Shadowlands, for people to go back in and redo the expansion they don't have, or redo the continents they don't have. So I think a lot more people are going to become Lore Master very soon.
Oh yeah, I'm totally looking forward to that revamped system. I thought it was in already. I had jumped in and was like, I'm going to go do the one expansion for all 20 levels. Oh no, too early. But I'll be ready.
I think I'm going to still jump in on 8.3 to work on Volpira and Mechanome, but I've got other alts I'm going to wait till Shadowlands to work on, because I remember how long even my Dark Iron Dwarf and my Kotiran took me a long time.
Yeah. I was working on the Dark Iron rep a little bit here and there, but it's such a grind. I'm still not sure I like how Blizzard's doing the allied races right now. I really thought it was like, okay, before the expansion comes out, you're going to have some stuff you can do to get it early, so you can be, yeah, I got the achievement, I'm cool, I get it before everyone else. And then later on, you can just be it.
Yeah.
But they haven't done that. Even if I wanted to be a Lightforged Draenei, I'd have to go back an expansion and do all that rep grind again. I don't know about that. I'm hoping that they reconsider their thoughts on that one.
And I could see at some point removing the rep grind and being like, if you finish the storyline.
Sure. Even just making it a little bit easier. Like, If you just did the normal stuff on Argus, you get your Lightforged Draenei. If you just did the war campaign, you get your Dark Iron Dwarves. I understand maybe not the same expansion, but past expansions, I'd like to see that lightened up a little bit.
Though I could also see them doing like the Watermount, and if you want to turn your tar into High Mountain, they just give you some antler ears that they can put on a hat.
You get a special hat.
Yeah.
Want to be a Dark Iron Dwarf? Just go roll around in a volcano for a bit. You'll be fine.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it.
It's a 30-day buff and all that. You just got to go back again every so often.
There we go. We can link it to the Dark Moon Fair. You get a little Dark Moon Fair buff. You get to be an allied race for a week.
Ooh.
Fantastic.
And get people there. I think Silas would love that.
I'd be all about it.
Yeah. Well, I think people can tell that you are a gamer from all that you've talked in right here. So how did you get into gaming?
Well, the gaming story of Crushinator.
Yes.
Like a lot of people, I think, I started out when I was not super young, but young enough. I got a Game Boy Advance for Christmas. That was my first gaming console. I got Pokemon, I got the Mario games, Golden Sun. Love the Golden Sun series. That's like a Japanese RPG. Fantastic set of games. So I got to play that. Over time, I got a couple consoles. I got Nintendo GameCube, original Xbox, later on the PlayStation 3. I played some single-player games here and there. The main games I played a lot, though, were Super Smash Bros. And Halo.
Ooh.
I would go over to my friend Rob's house. It would be him, his brother, me, and usually at least one friend. So we'd have 4 people. 4 people was perfect for those games, right? And we would just play against each other in Halo all the time. It was fantastic. I loved it. Halo 2 was my favorite, but we started right from the start. Halo 1, all the way up through Halo 4. We were playing together that whole time. Loved it, loved it, loved it.
Did you do multiplayer or co-op?
We did multiplayer, so we were going after each other. We had the don't screen look at my stuff, but just screen look just enough to...
Yeah.
It's like, I see you over there, but if I go after you, they'll know I'm looking, so I got to find a way to wiggle around, all that stuff. Loved it. It was so fun.
I was hearing from Spaz, there's a game called Screen Hack where you're encouraged to look at their screens.
I've heard about that one. It's you look at their screens, but in your screen, everyone's invisible.
Yeah.
That was the trick. I heard about that one. I was going to try that out. So that sounded like a really neat idea.
Absolutely. And take things back. And one story I think you would appreciate, back in youth group, we were on a lock-in and we're supposed to socialize. Well, 2 of the seniors disappear for a while. And we're trying to figure out, where are they? Because we haven't seen them for a long time. And then we start hearing sounds coming from the library. And someone finds a key that the janitor put in their office. They were playing Halo on a contraband Xbox and TV that they brought in on the lock-in.
Bandits.
I know.
Vagabonds. How dare they?
And they didn't get in trouble for it because, of course, they're seniors. So
Yes, they, just don't do it again.
Yeah, I won't be here in a little while, so it's all good.
Oh, Halo was it was the game of the time, man.
It was, and I'm so excited that it's coming back on PC. I'm looking forward to reliving some of the stuff and playing the games I never played on it yet.
Yeah, it just being able to experience it all in one place. It's not like, you need the original Xbox and then the 360 and then the one to play all the games. You can just have them on your PC. Now, they're not all out yet, and I don't know when the latest ones will hit PC. That's probably going to be quite a while. But you'll have quite the collection once they've released them all.
Yeah. So you played Halo 2. That was in college?
So that was mostly through high school. I was playing the party games with friends. First year college, that was 2007. That's when I discovered World of Warcraft. I would watch my friend, the same friend that I'd play Halo and Smash with, he would started playing in vanilla. And I would go over and sometimes I'd see him playing because he had raid or something. He would raid MC, stuff like that. And I would just sort of watch and ask questions about what he was doing. And he kept going, you should really play this game. You should try it out. And I'm going like, $15 a month? What am I paying $15 a month for a game for? This doesn't make any sense at all. And then high school was done. I was heading off to university. You went, you know what? I'm going to be out in a new town by myself. I've got time. Let's check out World of Warcraft. I pick it up. I ended up getting in there, I believe it was a little bit before Black Temple was released in Burning Crusade, is when I made my first character. So I got to level up through sort of classic vanilla, not as classic as you'd think, but before the Cataclysm changes, and then got to go through Outlands as it was. I ended up choosing a rogue, dwarf rogue named Crushinator. So that's been my main this entire time, all these 12 years. Crushinator the rogue.
Is that where your name started?
Yeah, so around that time, it was a little bit before World of Warcraft came out, but Crushinator is from Futurama. These friends that I was playing Halo with, playing Smash with, we were really into Futurama and Family Guy, back when you had to buy DVDs to watch the shows.
Oh, that's right.
They'd come in a little DVD pack of it took 4 DVDs to watch 15 episodes or something, the way they packaged them. But the early seasons, it was Futurama Season 1, Episode 2, they introduced the Moon Farmer and his 3 robot daughters. Daisy May 128K, Lulu Bell 7, and the Crushinator. And I thought that was the funniest thing. I didn't really have a gamer tag at that point. The only closest thing I had to a gamer tag was Death Row Hawk, which is the teenagerest name you could possibly think of, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? I'm not going to be Death Row Hawk anymore. I'm going to be the Crushinator. And that's stuck until now.
I love that Death Row Hawk. That's amazing.
It's a name, all right. Maybe I can resurrect it at some point and Death Row Hawk can ride again.
Yes. Death Row Hawk riding in the sky.
That'll be my undead rogue. It'll be Edgelord Death Row Hawk.
Oh, I like that.
It'll be good.
So you got into World of Warcraft, and have you stayed in World of Warcraft since then?
So I played up through Burning Crusade mostly casually, just learning the game, leveling the characters. And I started to raid at the beginning of Wrath of the Lich King. Before then, I would jump in on a Black Temple raid and I would be just kind of looking around, not doing anything like a normal newbie World of Warcraft player would be doing. But starting in, what was it? It was tier 7, if you can think all those tiers back. That was when the second Naxxramas was the first raid of Wrath of the Lich King, tier 7. So I remember, because I hadn't made this speech before, but it was tier 7 through tier 13. I was a cutting edge raider. So I started as a bench player. I ended up working my way up to raid lead in the Deathwing raid in Cataclysm. And that was sort of my peak as a raider. We got through there. The big accomplishment we had as a guild, sort of working from the beginning of Wrath up until then, was the Spine of Deathwing fight. I don't know if you heard about how notorious this one was. The original iteration of the Spine of Deathwing fight was actually not beatable.
Oh.
The world first racers all came and just smacked against this wall. And they started crunching down the numbers and doing the math.
That one,
And
yeah.
no matter how they stacked arcane mages and subtlety rogues, they could not burst through this phase. It was not possible. So there was that round of nerfs. One thing Blizzard was doing at the time to get folks through the raid was they would do these just flat percentage nerfs to the whole raid. So 1 week after some amount of time, it was like, all right, everything's 5% weaker. And then, okay, now everything's 10% weaker, 15% weaker, until whatever percentage of guilds they liked got to the end. And our guild was able to clear the whole raid after just the 5% nerf.
Nice.
That was sort of my peak as a raider. And at that time, I actually had to step back from raiding. I was going into my last years of college. I had to focus on that. I had to start thinking about getting a real job, finishing my last year of school, and I just couldn't devote the hours anymore. So that was the end of my hardcore raiding career. But I still leveled through each expansion. I still played on and off. Loved playing Mists of Pandaria that way. I'm actually super glad I wasn't a hardcore raider during Mists, because that was such a fun expansion to just meander through and take it slow down. That was the slow down expansion. Loved it.
So much in that expansion. There's things I want to go back and explore because the lore is so deep in that one.
Yeah, it's got a very contained story because it's this continent that has no connection to any of the other continents. The only continuity that we brought to Pandaria was the war. All the other stories, all the other quest lines were very pure and contained. Definitely worth playing through.
What's cool is like Capo in Classic found that there is a Storm Stout keg in Classic. So it's amazing that things did leak out from businesses came to the mainland and stuff like that. But it is impressive that they were able to pull inspiration from.
Yeah, I mean, at the time before Mists of Pandaria came out, there was the whole uproar of like, oh, Blizzard's just appeasing China by making up pandas in the game. But it's like, no, if you remember back to the earlier Warcrafts, Warcraft 3, the Pandaren were there. They've been a part of the Warcraft lore this whole time. This was just the focused expansion.
And well, I remember also people thought it was Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, I mean, those movies came out at the same time. That wasn't really helping.
And there was a big similarity. I have to wonder if somebody at DreamWorks played Warcraft 3.
It's very possible. There were some striking similarities.
Yes,
in design.
And I enjoy Kung Fu Panda a lot. It's one of those that because movies are fun to kind of play when you're doing different things. So from what I'm hearing, you've taken a backseat to raiding, but you've kind of been doing leveling. What is your play style since then?
I've been playing the rogue pretty much this whole time. Occasionally, I'll take through an alt. Like, what I generally like to do is play melee. So I've been through on a paladin, I've been through on a warrior, I've tried Death Knight out. I have picked up a mage and a priest, but it's just, it's not really the play style I go for. I really like hitting my movement keys while I'm playing, just shifting around, strafing left and right, getting in those positions, and just the cast bar and rooting yourself to cast was never really my play style. So I always gravitated towards the melee roles.
Do you go after like collectibles or achievements?
Lately, I was a bit of an achievement hunter for a bit, but lately it's been, I liked grinding out professions. I'd always get my fishing up to level each expansion. I used to try to get all of them up to level until they got rid of first aid. What am I supposed to do with all this cloth?
Yeah.
But try to get through some of the basic achievements for each one. Reputations. That's another one that I like to go after. That's one I haven't really hit in Battle for Azeroth, but in past expansions, I always try to make sure my reps are in order. I've got my basic Lore Master achievements. I've done all of the dungeons. Mythic Plus is a system I've really enjoyed since they've put it out as well. Just simple, scaling 5-man content. I really do enjoy playing.
It's interesting they bring up Mythic, because I've seen people who aren't raiding, but they will do Mythics instead because it's a challenge, but you don't have the long commitments every week that you do something with the raid team.
Yeah, so you've just got your 5 players, and you can make it whatever difficulty you need to make it to have it be interesting. The gear is roughly the same in terms of power output, and you can do them whenever you want. It's a really nice little system they've built.
So with all of this, and this includes everything, what is one of the memories in gaming that you cherish the most?
The most intense memories are definitely around World of Warcraft. And as amazing as the madness of Deathwing kill was for our guild in terms of a crowning achievement, I think beating the Lich King for the first time beat it out for just a raw, emotional experience. Because the Lich King fight is built, it's tough to see now because we're so leveled, but the Lich King was an absolute force. Everything he did out on his platform was just big and loud, and every time you messed up, it made things worse, and this feeling of inevitability and despair through the whole fight, right down to the end when he literally kills everybody.
Yes.
It's like, could he have just done this the entire time? Was all of this completely futile? And then when you finally get that kill, it was just a massive release for everyone. We had the 25-man raid in there, screaming through, what were we using at the time? We were probably using Mumble, one of those old voice apps. And wow, that's probably the most intense memory I have around gaming.
That's cool. That's a fight that I wish I had been able to experience, because when I'm going through it now, trying to get Invincible, it seems to be elusive to me. I'm like thinking how cool this place was. Like the music and everything in that whole instance is really cool.
Yeah, it's a real force. Just the atmosphere, the voice lines, the mechanics, the music, everything just comes together to make it a really epic moment.
And I think it was like on Blizzard Watch podcast, I was listening one time, and they talked about how when you went through dungeons in Wrath of the Lich King, like the one where the Lich King is chasing you, like you saw his presence all throughout the expansion, and then when you finally get there at that end and you take him down, it really finishes off the story of that expansion.
For sure. That's why people tend to think of Wrath of the Lich King so fondly, because the Lich King wasn't just sitting on a throne the whole time. As soon as you landed in Northrend, there he was. You're leveling up. He was influencing every zone you were in. Every content patch that came out, he had a play to make. Through those final dungeons, the Halls of Reflection, he's literally chasing you out of his temple until you finally go in and take him down. It's that build-up of not just the few weeks that you enter the raid, it's the build-up of the year prior, where you're just going, man, this unbeatable monster has just been knocking me down at every turn, and finally we get to face him head-to-head. I
just thought of a thought of when my Sylvanas destroyed the helm. She knew people wanted another Wrath of the Lich King, and she's like, I don't want to have to do all that work that the Lich King did. I'm just going to break the helm and be done with it.
That's a good theory. She's just going, this seems like a lot of work. You gotta be like frozen in a throne, and all these Scourge are just asking you for permission to do everything. Forget all that.
Yeah. We'll do it my way.
Doing it my way.
So not only do you game, but you are working on a game. I think this is awesome.
That's true.
You are working on Brick-a-Block. Can you describe what Brick-a-Block is?
So Brick-a-Block is a survival platformer game. You play as a frog named Lego. You're there on the screen. Blocks are falling from the sky. Some of the blocks are regular. Some of the blocks have different mechanics and different features. Your job is to survive. Survive and climb. So as these blocks come down onto the landscape, they're forming hills and mountains and caves for you to help avoid and stay alive. But more importantly, they're helping you climb upward.
I've enjoyed watching this game because you've done streams of this, and I can just watch it for hours because it's the graphics are so fun to watch, and I love the gameplay. And there's always that: is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? Oh, okay. This next one, he's going to do it. He's going to do it.
Yeah, it's strangely captivating. What I think is really capturing the magic in this game is every moment can be impactful and tense.
Yeah.
It's not just, can I get to the end and the journey is lackluster. Every time you make a jump, every time you're dodging a block, you're making decisions, you're reacting to what's around you, and it causes tension. And that tension remains through the gameplay, and it's what makes it something where when you die, you go, I could have done that better. I could have dodged this way, I could have jumped that way, and it makes you hit play again.
On the journey for this game, how did you get started working on this?
Primarily, this is my friend Rob's game. This is something he's been working on for could be over 10 years at this point. It's been sort of a side project of his. He's put a little time in here, a little time in there. Him and his brother have done pretty much all of the programming for the game. And it's really in the last year that we've made a serious push to get the product actually done and out for release. We've picked up a sound designer and we picked up an artist. And that's really catapulted the game forwards. Because before we just had some, the way games are in the start, you just have some graphics to do just for now to get the programming down. But now that we've got music in the game for a lot of our levels and a lot of updated art from an actual artist and not just one of us in Microsoft Paint, it's really made the game feel more like a finished product and less like something in alpha.
Yeah. What has been one of the biggest challenges you and the team have had to overcome with the game?
I think the biggest challenge for us is that we're very rarely physically together. So my friends who are programming, one of them's here in Ottawa with me. One of them's usually working out of Montreal. Both our sound designer and our artist are down in the States. So all we can do is have Discord meetings whenever we all happen to be free. And it makes it a little bit difficult to stay on track as a team. But we're all pretty passionate at this point. We've all invested a lot into this product. We're able to work hard and overcome that.
And that is an incredible thing of our time. It's amazing that you can work like that, and the distance, other than just the communication, you can still feel like you're near each other and communicating.
Absolutely. And Discord has been integral to that. Just being able to have notes that don't go away, channels for all of our different ideas so everything's organized. You can get in voice, you can get on video, you can screen share. All of that has been a tremendous productivity tool for the team.
What advice would you give someone who wants to get into game development?
So the main thing I would remember is to make the game fun. I'm very good at focusing on peripheral type stuff. This comes through when I'm making videos or making recordings. I think about audio quality, I think about graphics, I think about all the edge stuff. But when it comes to a game, is it fun to play? And that you always have to bring your focus back to that. It doesn't matter if it looks like trash right now. It doesn't matter if it glitches out half the time. If it's fun to play, you can fix everything else around it. But in the end, gotta be fun.
That reminds me of a video on YouTube. I think it might have been JonTron, but like they did a game development contest recently. That was one of the things that they said is even in their demos, were they enjoying the game? And I think the one that won was the one that they were having fun in the beginning, and the game looked like garbage in the beginning.
Yeah. If you present someone with a game that has flawless sound design, beautiful menuing, lighting effects, and then they get in the game and they're not having fun, none of that matters. They're not going to go, well, that was a completely forgettable hour, but at least the menus were pretty.
Yeah.
You're not going to read that review. But if you can get someone on the gameplay, they will overlook anything else that you have in front of them because all of that's fixable. But trying to sell someone on a pretty product that isn't fun, not going to happen.
It's why so many people have been amazed by Minecraft. Like, I love Minecraft, and I found it so much fun, and the graphics look like it always gets made fun of for its graphics, and it's fun graphics.
I mean, the graphics are frankly a running joke at this point.
Yeah.
The community just embraces now. It lives on the gameplay, and it continues to live on the gameplay. And Microsoft knew it. You saw with their update 4K Minecraft, it was almost like a giant meme. It's like, yes, we've made our cubic blocks very, very smooth.
Yeah.
Fancy.
I did think that they have one with the RTX stuff. I don't have an RTX card, but I've seen their ray tracing. And I got to say, that looks gorgeous. It's still the voxel graph.
They're doing their best to keep that aesthetic and still add that little bit of a modern touch to it.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job over there with that.
What has been the best experience or development that has happened to you since you started working on Brick a Block?
I think when I started making the recordings of playtesting, things really started to turn around. Because what we were doing before I started making videos was I would get a demo and I would play and kind of make some notes if there were bugs, if I had a suggestion. But in the end, it was just bullet points. And it's really, really difficult to tell someone about a bug with a sentence.
Yeah.
So once we had a recording and I could say right there, go to 1 minute 15, that's the bug. He goes, I know exactly what the problem is, fixes it immediately. Or I could show him this part of the video here. Wouldn't it be great if this happened? He goes, I totally agree, fix that. But before we were making videos, it was very difficult to communicate those ideas.
Is that one reason why you've been doing it on the streams, or have you been doing that for publicity?
It's been a little bit of both. It started mostly as a tool for me to create videos for the team, to make sure we had something for posterity. I could tell them about it. They could go back and rewatch it. I could do specific tests on things that they asked me to do. It became something that was fun to stream after a few iterations. The latest iteration was the first time I felt like I was truly addicted to the gameplay. Because I think about streaming it for about 30 minutes at a time. That was how it started. Okay, I'm going to play for 30 minutes, no matter how buggy it is, no matter how frustrating something is, I'm going to play for 30 minutes. And then we started making changes and making design decisions, adding the art and the music. And then by the end of the last stream, I was like an hour and a half in going, man, I've got to be somewhere. No, I'm just going to play 7 or 8 more times. Just 7 or 8 more times. We're going to be all right.
That shows that gameplay and that fun that you're looking for. That you've achieved that. That is awesome.
That was a really cool feeling, those last few play tests. And we're finally getting back to development. The holidays threw everything out of whack. Everyone's traveling, seeing family. Not a lot of time to implement changes or new features, but we're back in the flow. We're past the holidays. We can start working on getting some more developer releases out, getting some more videos done.
So what would you say are the future plans for the game at this point?
So the ultimate goal for this particular game is to get it on Steam.
Okay.
Where it's going to be a pretty low price point. I'd be surprised if we put it up for $5. It'll probably be less. But the main things we want to get done for the game are all the art assets done. We want music for every level. And hopefully we want to get some actual sound effects in the game too. Like leaping sounds. If you get squished by a block, maybe get a little squish sound in there. Things to make the game feel polished and complete. Ideally, we want to take that energy and possibly move on to another project after this.
Nice. Be the start and take what you've learned from this.
Yeah.
Very good. And I've got a link in the show notes to the Brick-a-Block Discord if people want to try out the game and see streams. I'm definitely going to buy this when it comes out because I've just been enthralled by it. And I want to support what you're doing because I think it's awesome. It's fun to see the game development side of things.
Absolutely. We've got the game Discord all up and running. We're not Discord partners, unfortunately, so we don't have the fancy link, but tinyurl.com/brickablock will get you in. You'll get the latest public demo. You can talk to all the developers and see where the game's at.
And you also recently began a podcast.
I did.
This is Crush's Cavern, and it's a solo podcast where you give your perspective on games, goals, and life challenges. Like I just followed your description from Apple Podcasts.
You did. You nailed it, bud.
So how did you get into podcasting?
Well, that's a long story. So Crush's Cavern itself didn't start as a podcast. It actually started as a private blog series that I did for my WoW guild. This was something that I started, must have been 6-7 years ago at this point. And I've always been interested in writing and sort of long-form thoughts. So what I started doing, we had our own guild forums through Engine, if you remember that old site. I'm sure It's gone now.
Yeah.
We had the Engine forums. And I wanted to try to communicate some ideas to our raid team that I wanted to think about more, process my thoughts. So I started making forum posts. I would talk about stuff like just simply how to improve in WoW. I'd make posts about specific bosses. I'd make posts about mindset, things like that. Just straight up getting along with each other to possibly get better at raiding, things like that. And that was how the idea for the original Crush's Cavern. And the podcasting idea came much later. So 2015 was the year I really started getting into podcasts. And that was through Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
Before Heroes of the Storm, I was listening to The Instance. I was listening to Angry Chicken. And through Angry Chicken, Garrett over there mentioned on the show, he's going to start a Heroes of the Storm podcast, Into the Nexus, which is still running to this day. And once I started playing Heroes, once I started listening to the Heroes podcast, I thought, I need to consume as much content around this game as humanly possible. I think at the peak, I was listening to 5 Heroes of the Storm podcasts every week. And once I started that, I started thinking, what other sort of podcasts are there out there? What else can I listen to? And that's really when the floodgates opened. Now I've got, I think I've got 16 podcasts I listen to on a regular weekly basis. So I've been sort of steeped in podcasts for these last 4 years or so. I started thinking about, man, it would be really cool to guest on a show one time. That's what started. I'm going to guest on something. And I started to think, well, who would just bring me on as a guest? I've never done anything in the space. I'm not a pro player. I'm not an authority in any of these games that I'm listening to podcasts about. How do I get in? And I was thinking, well, I should make a podcast. I'll get into the community. I'll start putting stuff out. I'll talk to podcasters. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to get into the podcast space by creating a podcast. And I thought back to Crush's Cavern and how I used to do it. And I thought, you know what? We're going to revive it. We're going to bring it into audio form, and we're going to see what we can do.
I love that because, like, I was a guest on a podcast, and I happened to like walk into it, but then I didn't want to wait for them to ask me back again, so I started podcasting, and yeah, what I found is you build the skill to the podcast.
It's very odd because I started thinking I'll be a guest, which is really not the thing you usually start with. Usually, you got to start practicing.
Yeah.
Showing what you can do, and then you get to be a guest. But that's not what I had in my head. I was like, I'll just be a guest. They'll just bring me on, right? Oh, well, that's not how things work. we got to put the chicken before the egg here.
Yeah, because like I know there are a few Patreons where if you sub enough to the Patreon, they'll bring you on as a guest.
Sure, you could, there are ways to pay your way on to certain shows, but that didn't feel quite right.
You've just passed 10 episodes, I saw?
I believe I've just put out number 7.
7, okay.
8 if you count episode 0, but I would call it episode 7.
What has been the biggest challenge you've had to overcome with Crush's Cavern?
Oh boy. I think the biggest challenge I've had so far is convincing myself to keep going. I definitely missed a few weeks through the end of November through December because I felt like I was running out of ideas, and I felt like I wasn't sticking enough to a schedule. Like the way I work a lot on inertia and routine. So if I miss 1 week, chances are I'm going to miss 2 weeks, and then I'm going to miss 3 weeks because I'm trying to get myself back into the rhythm. So what I've done to try to overcome that is to set a standard recording time every week, whether I'm ready or not. And so far that's been pretty helpful. And, for podcasters out in the space, they're thinking, well, yeah, obviously, why would you just do it when you feel like it? That's a terrible idea. But that's pretty much what I was doing. That's how I started with the first 4-5 episodes of the show, was I would just kind of wait for inspiration and then do a show. But sometimes you don't have inspiration. Sometimes you're out of whack. You're not feeling great. I was sick for a little bit. I just I'm not going to record while I'm sick. And then I would come around. It's like, okay, I'm going to record on Sunday. I'm not really feeling that good. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'll just skip a week. And it was just a bad cycle. But now I'm trying to say, okay, this specific time, this specific day, the podcast is getting recorded. So you better figure out what you're going to talk about because that day and time's coming. And so far, that's been really, really helpful in terms of producing content.
And I find for me that helps get around the writer's block by doing that with the schedule. There are some weekends, I'll be honest, are like, I want to do anything but editing or recording.
For sure.
I'm glad I do it because not every episode is going to be the best and some will be better than others. But yeah, having that schedule has helped keep me going. And yeah, Tom at the Extra Life says having a schedule for recording just your podcast is really important, and it makes it a priority.
And what you mentioned about not everyone's going to be the best, that's also something I'm still honestly trying to come to terms with, is that not every episode of Crush's Cavern has to be a masterpiece, has to be about something prolific and profound. It can be something smaller. It can be shorter if it needs to be. It can be just news. Just as long as I'm getting an episode out, I think I'm calling that a victory.
And like with Be Great Today, it's weird. The episodes that I work a lot on get the little views. I have one episode that I spent maybe like 30 minutes from beginning to end, and that one just took off, and I'm like, what? That was my filler in a way episode. Yeah.
Oh man, I've been through that with some YouTube videos because there have been some I've created that are heavily edited and stitched together, and I've weaved sound through it, and I've thought, this is great. 4 views. Okay, we'll go with that. And then I'll throw some Dota Underlords clip up there just because I thought it was a cool moment. A little 29-second video. 40 views. It's like, well, I guess you win some, you lose some, you know? You just got to keep producing.
And keep practicing it and getting that skill up.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm the person who will just think something to death, plan and plan and plan, and not produce until I think I've finally got the most beautiful little gem of a product, and then I put it out. And then I spend another month in the hole thinking about the next thing I want to produce. And it's like, no, that's not the way you got to do it. You got to just keep making stuff until you get better at it.
And along with the podcasting, with Crestus Cavern, you also do the Twitch streaming. Did you start the Twitch for the Brick-a-Block, or did you get into the streaming before then?
I've actually been streaming for quite a while. It's been very off and on, more on than off recently. But I think the first time I flipped on the stream was, I think it was 3.5 years ago.
Wow, nice.
It's been a very rocky road. Now, one thing that I'll mention about Twitch streaming, it's never been my intention to become a Twitch streamer. That's never been my intention to make that a job or to make that a serious source of income, or honestly, any source of income. So my commitment level has always been pretty low. If I decide I don't want to do it for a couple weeks, I just don't do it for a couple weeks. Not a big deal. But I've spent a lot of time streaming, refining the stream, and there's a lot of stuff that I can just sort of do now that, 3 years ago was a big task. But now, making sure the title's right, getting all the levels proper, lighting, video, all of that's really improved over the years quite a bit. I just need to get the compelling content part down, but hey, that's a journey.
Through your stream, that's how I found Brick-a-Block. So it worked on getting me excited in that game.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the right track there. And would you say like Twitch streaming, even a little bit differently than podcasting, is like a muscle and you have to exercise it to get it better?
I would say so, yes. The first thing I would ask myself about streaming is, what do I want out of this? A lot of new streamers think that there's like a way to stream.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to, stream this many hours and get this many viewers. I have to find the perfect game to play, and I have to play it for the perfect amount of time. I need to make sure I have, feature X, Y, and Z, and that's how you be a streamer. What I found is that's really not the case. You start to look at the streamers that you follow, and you start going, well, they're not doing any of those things. They're just being themselves. They're just out there having a good time. Like, one thing that I poured a ton of time into, a ton of thought into, is my overlays and my graphics. I spent a lot of time doing that because I like doing it. But at the beginning, I thought, this is how I'm going to get viewers. This is how people are going to watch. They're going to come in and say, wow, that graphic looks great. I'm going to keep watching this streamer. It's not how it works. If you're interested in growing a Twitch stream, make sure you're doing it the way you want to do it. Because if you're not happy and you're not natural when you're streaming, people will notice.
Yeah.
You've got to have that magnetic presence. And the best way to be magnetic when you're on camera is when you're happy and being yourself. People notice that 100%.
I can definitely relate. Like, there were times I tried to be somebody else than I was, and I couldn't sustain the long hours of streaming because I was afraid of disappointing people, losing people. But once I flipped that switch, and I've been working on keeping that switch flipped, but when I've become me and really not cared, I don't need to get everybody. I just need to get the people that want what I'm doing. It changed.
It's definitely a perspective thing. Sometimes it feels like the viewer is there and I need to capture that viewer. I need to make sure that particular viewer is all about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's just a river. People are flowing by. They'll take a look, they move along. They take a look, they move along. And the ones that are attracted to you when you're being yourself, those are the ones who are going to end up gravitating and staying. You don't have to morph yourself to try to grab as many people out of the river as possible. You just need to sit back, let the flow happen, and let the people who are attracted to you and what you're doing find you.
I love that analogy. Along the river of your life, are there any interesting hobbies that you have that we may not know about in addition to all what you've been doing here?
Well, outside of gaming and podcasting and streaming and all that lovely stuff that I do like to do, I would consider myself a pretty strong pool player.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've been playing in a league for, I believe this is my 6th year. I've been playing pool pretty much my whole life. My dad had a table growing up. And I'm starting to play at a fairly competitive level. I'm actually doing a lot better this year than I usually do. I've taken down a couple tournaments, won a bit of money. I'm starting to move up in my, they call it a handicap, kind of like golf, where, if one person is at one level, another person's at another level, there's a little bit of a points discrepancy there. But my level's starting to go up, and I'm starting to consider maybe traveling for a few tournaments.
That's awesome. See, I love that. I love finding those things that, like, you look at somebody, and I never would have expected you to be a pool player.
Yeah, it's something when you think about old guys. It's kind of an old guy game, right?
Yeah.
People would go out when they didn't have, bars with TVs in them. They needed something to do, so you go out and shoot pool. You go out and play darts. You go out and smoke cigars. It's kind of that time period. But there's still plenty of people playing pool. Not just older folks, young people too. Men and women are pretty well represented in the pool hall that I go to. It's still pretty popular.
So out of all of this, what has been the best experience or development that has happened to you since you started podcasting, streaming, or pool?
Honestly, this BlizzCon was a major focal point in terms of my involvement in different communities. Because up until that point, my involvement was purely digital. I would listen to the shows. Sure, I'd be on Discord servers or in Twitch chats talking to people, but in the end, I'm just an avatar and a name. And I still felt pretty connected to all those communities, and it's been very good. But actually seeing people physically from those communities has renewed my will and renewed my passion for all of these games far more than I could have expected. It's been really, really good since then. So for Heroes of the Storm specifically, 2019 was a bit of a tough year. I don't know how much you were following that.
Was 19 the year that we lost the HGC?
Was December 2018 was when we got the big announcement.
Oh, wow.
That was a toughie. At the time, I was streaming Heroes of the Storm pretty much exclusively, and I had to stop. Like, I would turn on the game and look at it and just shake my head and turn it off. And it was like that for a solid 3 months before things started to slowly roll back together. And 2019 for the game honestly ended up being pretty good. But I still kind of kept it at arm's distance. It was like going through a bad breakup. You didn't want to have anything to do with it. I'm sure they're doing great. I don't want to know about it. But the community around Heroes of the Storm was so tightly knit and so committed to the game. It stayed basically as big, if not grew. And going to BlizzCon and seeing not only people that I knew around Heroes of the Storm, but streamers, podcasters, players, the presence for the Heroes of the Storm community was so inspiring around this game that was supposedly dead. This game that the team was cut, the esport destroyed, it's gone. And then I go to BlizzCon and I thought, how could anyone possibly think that after experiencing what I've experienced here?
I'm glad you said this because that was my experience in terms of like WoW and Blizzard. Is we had a lot of things have been we're like Blizzard's dead, and I kept telling people, if you went to BlizzCon and saw the people here, WoW's not dead and Blizzard's not dead.
No, it was a very inspiring experience.
Yeah,
being at BlizzCon this year. I'm going to do everything in my power to be back next year. You never know. Sometimes you can't do it, but I'm going to try my best because that was some of the best community time I've spent as part of Blizzard games.
I think it was Silverbolt who said the only bad thing about BlizzCon is it's a drug, and I get it. It's like because I'm feeling the same way. I'm like I'm doing what I can now to get back. Because like I wake up some mornings thinking, wow, I got to meet those people. I got to experience people. And when I see people through the camera, it's like I was just near you a second ago. I'm remembering when I ran into you at BlizzCon. I'm like,
Yeah.
And it feels so real.
It really does. And just having that one experience makes this interaction we're having now that much different.
Yeah.
People I've never met, it's not like we've never been on webcam. I see who they are. There's still this feeling of, they're not real. You say that, right? And it sounds callous, but until you're there in person and you're feeling that energy from another person, it just takes things to a completely different level.
Yeah. I remember the first time I ever met somebody from the community, and that was Ro in the first year. And when I met Ro, that put my fire for this community even more. I was like, okay, meeting people like Ro is why I'm going to do it. Because I had a great time, and my parents were at the table, and they're just like, they're loving the fact that the conversation was happening, and they were enjoying it, even though they had no clue we were talking about war fronts and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, I get it.
Just glad you're happy, honey.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to thank you, Crush, for joining me today. I'm glad I got to know more about you, learn about that you're a pool shark and stuff like that, and to not go up against you because you are competitive at pool.
Don't worry, I'll take it easy on you.
Oh, good, because I typically am the one that will like hit the ball in the wrong place and stuff like that.
Hey, man, sometimes I go in anyway.
That is true. And the only place lagging balls would be bad is on a pool table, because you don't want the ball to lag when it's supposed to go in there.
Oh, that'd be a tough one. You don't want that.
So where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all at The Crushinator, spelled correctly, of course, with a K. You can find Crush's Cavern on Twitter at Crush's Cavern, both with Ks. And yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm pretty easily searchable. Just hit me up at The Crushinator.
And you said tinyurl.com/brickablock for the game?
Yes, that will get you a permanent Discord invite. You can get in there, you can see the demos, you can see the discussions, and get involved with the game in whatever way you choose.
And there's a certain podcaster that I'm trying to get to know about the game, so they might be listening. I'm trying to tell about the game because I'm just enthralled by it.
Oh, it's a great one. They won't regret trying it out for sure.
No, not at all.
Activating customized Orca Safe transporter.
Well, I am back a move of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Normagon.
I'm a gnome. Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome. Let's do that. So with Diablo coming soon, Blizzard soon we mean, but hopefully not Valve Half-Life 3 soon, Icy Veins points to Redditor Zomperdi, who has started remastering Diablo 2. And the remakes don't start with Diablo. Mystic Nephro is back once again as Icy Veins reports with Orgrimmar recreated in Warcraft 3. Soon, we may have all of World of Warcraft recreated in Warcraft 3. Oh, and speaking of Orgrimmar, Torloff during one of my streams told me the best joke. This is from r/Warcraft Dad Jokes. Yep, that exists. PETA Project Phoenix Productions told me about this. Castle Adamant asks, what is Orgrimmar's #1 selling roof sealant? Darrow-Tar, TM. Not sorry. I've got a link to that joke and more in the show notes. These are priceless. Though some would be like, why would I pay for that? Okay, moving along before you use that sealant to seal my mouth shut. We talked earlier about the Lich King's fight in this episode, and Icy Veins reports that Redditor Arang Choi has recreated Arthas in his Lich King form in Minecraft. This is incredible. Even in voxel form, it looks stunning. And I think all creepers in Minecraft will be scared of this. And Icy Veins has uncovered an interview by Gaming Bolt, who talked with John States, who we talked with in episode 79, and they talked about things like WoW's anticipated success pre-launch, the changing development process over the last decades, and more. Definitely check out this interview and the WoW Diary if you have not checked it out yet, as these insights have helped me appreciate the game on a deeper level. And I love podcasts. And if you want another awesome podcast to add to your collection, the one I'm about to talk about includes Taliesin. Then check out WoW Killer, where Garrett and Taliesin sit down to talk about the World of Warcraft. They're in episode 3, and the topics so far are 15 years of World of Warcraft, leaks, and you, and the best and worst patches. And you know what else is killer? Killer isn't really cool. Okay, sorry, my method is tangents, and Method's method is Race to World First. Pete brought to my attention that Method has announced their Race to World First event, which will be live from Germany for the Ny'alotha raid. And this raid launches on January 21st. The coverage will be 24/7 starting January 28th at 6 a.m. Pacific when the Mythic opens. More details are at the link in the show notes. And the competitions don't end with Method. Alessander brought to my attention the ESL Pro Tour for Warcraft 3. The description is, starting with its first season, it will offer over $200,000 across the tour, and it will crown the official Warcraft 3 World Champion. And one very good reason to do it, create a world where everybody can be somebody. Somebody once told me $200,000 is a lot of money. And with that, you can buy an amazing custom-built computer. What should it look like? Well, if you look at Icy Veins, you can see their story about how Forestburg Customs created an amazing Alliance-themed machine called Project Ren.
This has been another awesome episode of Frazzlecast. Take it away, Frazzle Pants.
Thank you, Scruffy! So if anyone is looking for guests, I had an absolutely awesome time this episode talking with Crushinator, and I highly recommend him for your podcast. And talking with guests and learning their stories is one reason why I am absolutely honored to be invited to be a new co-host on a long-running podcast. As I alluded to earlier in this episode, I am now part of the Converted Podcast. Episode 163 was Turart's final episode, as she is moving on to new things like the Words of Warcraft podcast. I was a surprise announcement in this episode. This episode made me cry. That, or I think a lot of onions were in the studio. I don't know who brought the onions in. But this was a great episode. I can't replace Turart's. No one can. And she will be missed. But I am excited to be able to bring my own flair to this show. This show covers the people in the guild Convert to Raid and our community. If you like Frazzlecast, then I know you'll love the Converted Podcast. Plus, it's more frazzly in your ears, if you want that. And speaking of more me elsewhere, I was on Whispers of War 69. And you'll laugh when you hear the title. I love to make you groan. Yep. Still was a joy to talk with, and we had a great time on this episode. Definitely check out Whispers of War. And that same weekend, I was honored to be on episode 401 of Girls Gone WoW. This is a podcast I've listened to for many years. I found them during my WoW break, and they almost brought me back into WoW during Warlords. I had a great time talking with EJ and Raven, who I also got to meet at BlizzCon thanks to Tosh Mifune and Professor Talib. Please support this awesome podcast and their inclusive community that they've built. Their community reaction section was vast, and that showed a community that loves them and feels loved. And a shout out to George Ladow, who tweeted about Frazzlecast 140 with Trendane. They said, "That's my friend. He's a voice actor I have hired and worked with many times, and you should check him out." And Bailey Wolf also tweeted, "Trendane is a pretty awesome friend who is a pleasure to work with." And in my description for 140, I had said, "You won't believe the amazing voices Trendane does." And Joe Moreno said, "I believe the amazing voices he does." And CCPPPR17 tweeted that they love Trendane and that they're always so interesting to listen to. They were asking me about a video version, so I saved the raw version of the video of that episode over on Twitch. I don't always do this, but I can do it upon request. And the raw VOD is up for, I think it's 60 to 90 days after each episode. And I have also started uploading the final version of the podcast to Twitch. These versions are audio only. It takes a lot of work just to do the audio version of this podcast. And Professor Talib said that 140 was an excellent episode. Much fun to listen to. Well done, both of you. Thank you, Talib. And in a tweet by Mr. Green Elite asking people to hype up people they frequent and enjoy, past guest who will return, as I had a blast talking with them, Elliot of Tessa and Elliot Argue said that they love the energy I bring on Frazzlecast. Thank you, my friend. And Crush, who you just heard, said on Twitter after recording this episode, said that I was a joy to work with and that I made their first ever guest experience such a great one. Thank you, Crush. That was a great tweet to get after recording with you, as I felt like we had a great conversational feel. And that is one thing that I've been trying to make this podcast be. A chat between two people or more, but a chat where we are sharing it with you. Part of the reason I try to go for the energy of around the table. And Tom said in response to the episode you just heard today, which we're actually still playing, kind of cool that we can get feedback on this episode before it's released. They said that they were glad they got to catch part of the show live. They said, nice job, dudes, and that there was some great mindset talk about content creation. I agree. I loved the river analogy, especially for Twitch. And Tosh Mifune said they loved the episode with Trindane. And I gotta say, it was so cool at BlizzCon having Tosh Mifune and Trindane in the same area. You should have heard them dialoguing in their various voices. It's one of those memories that I will cherish forever. And speaking of cherished memories, I cherish the ones being built over on Twitch. That is a fun thing each week, getting on and connecting with great friends. Well, I had the idea this past week to take it a step further, and for 10,000 Frazzle Dazzles, which are points you earn for free by watching and interacting with me when I'm live, well, for 10,000 Frazzle Dazzles, I will live stream a portion of a future coffee walk. The first one happened this past Thursday, and Torloff redeemed another one, which I'll be doing shortly, if I haven't already done it by this episode release. The first one went very well, and I found a handheld tripod holder, kind of a phone holder thing. I forgot that I had got it for using my phone for webinar classes at work. And then I also picked up a Rode video mic to improve the sound, especially this mic also includes a windsock, because I'm trying to make it where you can still hear me. So this setup will be good for future coffee walks, future videos that I do on my phone, and possibly even streams from future cons like BlizzCon when I get the chance to go again. The first coffee walk was terrifying in the sense of it was weird bringing this stream into real life, walking past cars. I even had to walk by a police officer. I was like, please don't arrest me. I know. Why would they arrest me? But still. But it also made it feel fun and sharing a moment with you. In every episode, in addition to thanking those who give shout outs and things during the week, I also like to thank those who have given back to the show financially. Thank you to my Twitch subs out there. Thank you to Ali of Dungeon Fables, Alessander, Burkhart, Capo, Chris of MMO Reporter, Crunk, Gia, Jindin, Lance Blizz Gamer, Michael of the Genome Project, Pete of Project Phoenix Productions, Razarus, Savvy the Nerd, Scissor Lord, Sinister Gaming, Helen Royd, Thorn of Lagging Balls, and Zortz the Goblin. And thank you to Capo, Pete of Project Phoenix Productions, and Razarus for the bits. Capo and Razarus actually also gave me bits during the coffee walks. That was really cool. If you want to support the show financially, please go to support.gnomepodcast.com. If you have Twitch Prime through Amazon Prime, you can use your free Twitch Prime subscription that you get every month on my channel, get access to emotes and awesome things. All of your support goes to helping support this labor of love. Thank you so much. Every week, I want to put on the best production I can, and your support, both financially and in words of encouragement, helps a lot. Well, I am Frazzly, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. There you can catch past episodes, and we have a growing library of so many cool episodes with so many cool guests. You can find the schedule of future live recordings and find out many of the places where you can subscribe to this show. Well, until next week, be awesome.
Hey Alexa, where can I find Hot Gnome action on Twitch?
There's only one place you should go. That's to Frazzle's stream over at www.twitch.tv/Frazzles. Don't forget to spend your Frazzle Dazzles and free Nomrigan Revolution of our times.
Okay. I'm awake now. I'm waking up on a Tuesday. I don't know why I'm talking to myself. Maybe it's all that Twitch commentary that I've been working on. But it's time for me to log in to WoW for 8.3. I got my snacks ready. Got my coffee ready. Okay. Wait. Streamlabs OBS isn't installed on my computer. And my mic is missing. Okay. I was looking at that later. I'm going to stream this, but okay. Now, I better not question how I'm recording this audio right now. I just got to go with it. Airy Peak. What happened to Airy Peak? Okay. Let me go to that realm. Weird. 0 characters there. Huh. I do see characters on Rome Rest Accord, though. Okay, I will log a ticket with the GM, and until I hear back, I will go on to Rome Rest Accord and do some stuff. Wait, all goblins on this server? Okay, well, let me log into my highest level warrior there, Grasley. That sounds very familiar to Frazzly. Maybe I was tired one night and decided just to roll a bunch of goblins and that I forgot about. Okay, I'm logged in. Let's go work on the horrific visions that were added. I want to work on the legendary cloak and then maybe dump my reagents into the Rezone auction house interface. See if I can get some extra gold. But before I do that, I do have a boost for my Shadowlands pre-order. I could roll a character here at 120 on Alliance, because there's some cool people on the Alliance, and then work on my Mecha Gnome unlock. Okay, let's make it turn 9. Let's see. I'm trying to think of some good puns. Because MacGyver's already taken, and I don't want to take his name because I love his name. Aha! Beef Wellington. There we go. Got it. Why am I talking to myself so much? I mean, this could be convenient script writing, or lazy, some might say. But, well, who cares? Let's go on. Let's cut to an epic music montage of me working on my boosted character. Epic music montage! Leveling through the boosted character scenario! Moving on over to the report's next part of the script. Okay, I'm at the embassy. Let's unlock the Mecha Gnomes. There's no Mecha Gnome banner. Look online. Okay, go to Wowhead. What's this? Late breaking news that came out this morning. Mecha Gnomes have been canceled from 8.3 due to a shortage in game development resources. Surely I would have been following news on gnomes. Let me go to Twitter. This isn't my account. Grazzly-tastic? What happened to Frazzly-tastic? Okay. Maybe something's going on with my Twitter. Let me go to my podcast Twitter. Grazzlecast? That has to be a parody account or something. A podcast by a Blizzard fan goblin? Surely my Twitch hasn't changed. Goblin.live? What is going on? This is a horrific nightmare.
Frazzly.
What?
Frazzly.
Oh, Frazzly.
Hello?
Frazzly.
Oh, hey. What are you doing here? Hyaphin? Telenroid? Flameflash? And what am I doing here on the ground in the middle of Dalaran? Oh, I was flying around Azeroth shouting that the end is near? I was saying that all hail Frazoth, the lord of your downfall? I don't remember that. I last remember being at a party celebrating the launch of Mecha Gnomes. I was invited to this on short notice. Oh, I do recall singing parody karaoke there. One of the songs I was singing was about the after we finished Ny'alotha that I was singing about. I can see clearly now, the void is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. It's still in my head, which is why I'm singing it right now. Then I remember falling face first into the punch bowl. Someone must have spiked the punch. Okay, but please, can you tell me that I'm Frazzly? Okay, I am Frazzly. Good. I am a podcaster, right? No? But I'm a streamer, right? No, I don't stream on Twitch. What have I been doing the last 2.5 years? Running ICC? On multiple alts every day? On multiple accounts? With no mount drop? That sounds like a horrific nightmare.
Frazzlecast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. Views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard Games, and they are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended. This show is for the community, and it contains contributions from the community. The Gnome Train intro is by Allie of Dungeon Fables and All Things Azeroth. The opening music is by Brandon T. Blaylock. The Gnome Roar is by Jen of Morally Grey Podcast, and the Frazzle Pants bumper at the end is by the Scruffy Druid of Loot Optional and Viral Voice Arts.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.